Hey everyone, this is Brian from Motive Training, and today we're going to go over internal and external rotation in the Scarecrow position. So if you've ever had rehabilitation for the shoulder, sometimes they'll throw you in this 90-90 position with both arms or maybe just one arm, and we just call this the Scarecrow. So what we're going to do is try to isolate the internal and external rotators in this position. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that the elbows stay about 90 degrees out to the sides, no matter what position we go in, whether we rotate up toward the sky or back down toward the floor. You're not trying to bring the elbows down or bring them up, try to lock them in place. So the other thing to keep in mind is you're trying to engage your core just a little bit so that you're not leaning back or arching your spine. And the other thing is not letting the shoulder blades dump forward. We're not trying to upwardly rotate or elevate the shoulder blades at all. So we're trying to keep them neutral-ish on the rib cage. In other words, if you go through this exercise and the first thing you do is that is not the goal. We're not trying to work the shoulder blades. We're trying to work just the shoulder. So internal rotation is going to be first. I'm having my hands straight out in front. You can also make fists. The goal being is when you go into internal rotation, you're not trying to bend at the wrist. Be conscious of that. If you're trying to get more room in the shoulder and you can't, you might try to go like this. It's not the same thing as actually working the shoulder, right? You're now flexing the wrist. That is not the same thing as internal rotation of the shoulder. So try to keep the hands either locked in a fixed position. They can be straight, they can be fists. It's really up to you. Internal rotation is going to go down nice and slow as far as you can. Trying to fight for as much room inside the shoulder as you can go, and then you're going to keep the abs engaged, shoulder blades are not elevating, and you're going to slowly go up high as you can into external rotation, fighting to go back. Imagine you're hitting a wall and you're trying to push harder, and then you're going to go reverse nice and slow. This is one of those things that might be better done in front of a mirror. I can't see myself. I've practiced this enough that I hope it looks pretty good for the camera. But again, trying to fight for internal rotation this way, and then up nice and slow into external rotation. And notice how my elbows, they relatively stayed at 90. They didn't drift inward or outward as I went through this exercise. Those are all ways for you to try to get out of working the shoulder. So be conscious of that too. If you find your arms are drifting out or coming in, that's because you're not working the shoulder anymore. You're working the elbow flexor and extender, so biceps and triceps. Your body is very, very good at trying to find its way out of working harder. So try to really isolate that internal rotator all the way down as far as it can go. External rotation is the same thing. Try to keep those arms at 90. Try not to elevate the shoulder blades and keep the tension in the rotator cuff, the intrinsic internal shoulder muscles.